Hey guys, what's up? It's Steven here from Senshudo.tv, and I'm here with Michael Todd if you just want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Michael Todd. I made Electronic Superjoy and a bunch of other crazy games, and I currently make indie games full time.
Yeah, he says crazy game. They are extremely, well, I wouldn't say random, but funny in a lot of different ways. Like, Electronic Superjoy, what a lot of you know is one of my favourite indie games, has the most outgoing storyline ever. Just, you wouldn't expect it.
Random, it's funny because I like coming up with lots of different ideas and putting them into the game, and I do have to consciously make sure it's not random. I have to edit maybe 50% of the stuff just so that it doesn't become random. Even in the last month or two before release, I was cutting all these bits, not because they were bad, but because they weren't coherent.
Yeah.
And with no context, because it's a silhouette game, because it happens in an abstract world. So a friend of mine recently walked me through this concept that you can have a normal person and then put them in wacky situations, and it's easy to make humor. That's what Family Guy is, that's what The Simpsons is, that's what, most of the sitcoms are.
Yeah.
Or you can have a wacky situation and put a normal person in it, and that's what Futurama is. That's what a lot of Star Trek is, where it's like they have everyday problems on the Starship Enterprise. But you can't have a wacky situation and a wacky person, because then there's no frame of reference for the comedy.
Yeah.
And ESJ is a very abstract, no context world. So writing jokes, they can be funny in the context, but you have to be very careful it doesn't come off as random. The writing in that it was mostly a process of editing rather than volume of writing it.
Yeah, so did that help with when you were creating Electronic Superjoy? Because I know, at the start, if you guys haven't played it, basically the aim of the game is to to get your butt back.
It's funny. That's a popular misconception. It's actually a revenge quest. It says that the guys stole your butt, so everybody assumes you have to get it back. But all you do is get revenge. It's a sad story. You never actually get your butt back.
Oh. Well, I haven't actually been able to play through all of it yet because I'm in the middle of doing
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to spoil it. Well,
it's fine, man.
But you have this amazing robotic prosthetic butt, and I'm making a DLC sequel. Like, it'll probably be a little bit of a standalone expansion. It's too small to properly call a sequel, but Envy, the musician, is making more music for it, and I'm making more levels, and I have this cool story arc where... have you beaten the first world boss yet?
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that level.
So, a little tiny bit of a spoiler for the listeners, but the first world boss is the Pope, and you kill him, and one of the NPCs says dibs on his hat and becomes Pope Boris the Super Sexy, and so the DLC is planned to be all around him, and he becomes like Batman, and you help him out defeating aliens.
You heard it first here, guys. Yeah, that's awesome. And you said about the guy who makes the music. The music is phenomenal in the game.
It really is. I love Envy's music. I've been listening to it for 5 or 6 years. He's a Newgrounds musician. All his music was just free online, and I was trying, like, this being 5 or 6 years ago, I wasn't very good at making games. I was just getting into that. So I made a couple of games. I used one of his tracks here, one of his tracks there. He was very nice to let me use it. And then basically, ESJ was just this wonderful opportunity to take this undiscovered rock star who I happen to know and who has amazing music and make an entire game. Like, I started with the music, and then I built the game around the music. And I think it came out reasonably well, and I just love his music. It's fantastic.
Yeah, because the game really does fit in with the music. Like, I think it's one of the World 1 levels where you get to the end, the edge of the screen, and you're like, oh, it's not moving, what do I do? And then it tilts upwards, and the music just goes great with that part.
Well, that track actually predates the game by 3 years. Like, the music very much was there, and then we would listen to the track over and over and over, and then we'd imagine the level, and we'd be like, all right, so what's happening now? And it's kind of the reverse of Rock Band, right?
Yeah.
The whole like we're gonna make the music fit with the game. When you fuck up in the game, we're gonna like static out the music and so forth. Whereas here, you actually have no interaction with the music. It's not a game in that sense where you're like creating the music or altering the music. Like there's a lot of games now where they have procedural music based on what you're doing, and if you're using the big heavy weapon, you know, there's a drum playing and sort of thing. But this was that the world worked with the music, and we have a whole bunch of different ways. If you actually look at the game, some levels are on tracks, so that if you die and restart, the music actually jumps back, and it's so that the entire level can be timed to the music, and that was just what fit that music. And most of the levels work on a loop. So if you die and restart, the music just keeps going, because I wanted to listen to the music in the background. I didn't want it to jolt every time you died. And then all of the effects are in the background are, regardless of where you are in the level, they're just based on what the music is doing. So if the music is going crazy, the background is going crazy, or the monsters are going crazy, or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a few cannons and missile launchers that fire on the beat if we thought it was really appropriate in that scene. Really, it was just the rule of thumb is the music is king for each of the parts of the level. So if we need to change a monster for this one scene, because that's what fits the music, then we do so.
Yeah, you said something about missile launchers then, and I know from playing the game, you must love missile launchers, because there's some levels where you have about 50 missiles chasing you. You cannot do anything about it.
I think I know the levels you're talking about.
Yeah.
So there was 2 level designers for the game. I mean, I shouldn't say that. One level was made by Droken, who made Starseed Pilgrim. Actually, the one that tilts, the one you were talking about, that was made by Droken, who made Starseed Pilgrim, that's in the Humble Bundle right now.
All right.
So I had a bunch of friends come into the office and they built one level. But of the 40 or 50 levels in the game, 95% were made by me and Cassie. And so we each did about 50%. And you can kind of, after a while, you get fans of the game knowing which levels, that when we release new ones, who made it. Because Cassie has a particular evil style and I have a particular style. And hers is just bloody minded, but I love missile launchers.
Yeah, was with the game in mind, did you try and make it as funny as you could, or did the humor just come naturally?
My next game is going to have more jokes. I don't know if it'll be funnier, but I'm working on it. I've written a lot of submissions and quests. So I have this big secret next game that I haven't announced, that I haven't told anybody. I haven't said the name. I've just kind of referenced it. But it's definitely going to be funny.
Okay.
I've got like 70 pages of dialogue right now, which I'm sure I will edit down to about 3. I'm not a big fan of cutscenes.
Yeah.
But no, the humor, honestly, I'm giving this world more context because there was only so far I could go with the abstract world in ESJ. Like, the music was the main point, and then the humor was part of it. Like, the opening scene with your butt and so forth, it sets the tone for the game. It's like, hey, don't take the game too seriously, listen to the music, you know, stomp things with your butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I found, it's probably the grossest thing in the game, but I found it hilarious, is the white walls. Is that meant to be?
Yeah, I never actually said anything. I mean, I simply implied it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the bystanders in the game you walk past and he's like, oh, why are these walls sticky? And then the other guy just goes, oh, gross. It's like, that obvious, is it what it's meant to be?
I mean, hey, yeah, I mean, I did a lot of that because, I mean, my next game actually has even more adult humor. So it has, like, there's a PG button in ESJ. You can go and turn the orgasms off. So for those of you who haven't played, every time you get a checkpoint, it plays a random orgasm.
Yeah, coming from dudes and chicks, so, best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's actually funny because I get a lot of people complaining, and they all want to turn off the male orgasms. So it's all guys who are maybe a bit homophobic or something, and they just don't want to hear that half of it. And
I find it adds to the humor.
Yeah, I find it adds to the humor. I mean, the French guy who says "ooh la la" is the best one, in my opinion.
I'm so happy that you said he's a French guy, because I always used to be like, oh, do a French accent and do it. And I was like, if people call me racist, I'm going to be annoyed.
No. I mean, there's a PG button in ESJ that will turn off all that stuff. Because, hey, if you've got kids listening, or you are a kid, or, and your mom, like, sets up the game, or whatever, and then like for the iOS store, the PG button's going to be locked on because they have more strict rules. And so it censors certain parts of the game. When the Pope goes, I'm going to fuck you up, it goes, I'm going to censor you up, which almost makes it dirtier, really.
Yeah. Doesn't give the Catholics stereotype any better.
Well, actually, the thing is I really like this new Pope. The old Pope was like Nazi Boy Scout, whatever, and I had no problem making fun of him. But then mid-ESJ, mid-development time, they switch popes on me. And the new one's like, hey, you know, atheists are cool, gay people are cool. And I'm just like, oh, man, here I am bashing the Pope.
Yeah, I mean, I'm studying RE in school, and we were talking about the new Pope, and I was like, he is a lad.
He's pretty cool. Like, I mean, he's still a Pope. So he, like, particularly, I'm an atheist, so he particularly, you know, espouses particular values that I don't agree with. But besides details, the guy is a saint, and I mean, you know, kind of what a Pope should be, but a lot of popes aren't. This guy was like, he was sneaking out to feed the poor as a nameless priest, and he wasn't telling anybody. He's like a seriously good guy, and he's a seriously relaxed dude when it comes to hating on people because of their differences.
Yeah.
So in my next game, he's basically Batman. There's going to be a Pope signal, and I don't want to give away too much, but basically a big bad thing happens, and in the ruins of it all, you're fighting against the evil oppressors, and it's you and the Pope versus, the bad guys.
So the popes in the game are based on the popes we know, and, well,
I think they're based on my attitude towards the Pope, which has swung from north to south recently, basically. Like, the needle's switched over. This particular Pope in the DLC has an actual name. The other one was just the Pope. This one is Pope Boris the Super Sexy. So it's not actually the Pope.
Yeah. I mean, in the game, does he have a superhero name as he is like Batman, or is it just the Pope
no,
name?
Just here comes the Pope.
Oh, right, okay.
The Pope signal. The Pope cave. He has a Pope spaceship.
Yeah, well, that's all I have to ask anyway.
You know.
I'm just looking forward to playing the new DLC and, well, standalone, however you release it. And
yep,
it's great to speak to you. If you guys haven't played the game, or just go check it out. It's on Steam, and is it on any other platforms?
It's on. It's not yet out on iOS and Android. It's coming out soon. We're talking to Sony, but we're not sure. But yeah, it's on PC, Mac, and Linux, and it's on the Humble Store and on a couple of other stores. Yeah. So you can buy it on our site, but honestly, buy it on Steam. If you buy it on our site, though, you get a Steam key, so there's no loss.
Yeah, and well, one thing I saw when I was getting it on Steam was that you also have the soundtrack as well. So
yeah,
and I've seriously considered just buying that so I can just listen to it on the go, because it is without a doubt my favorite soundtrack on a game.
Thanks. Yeah, it's not video game music. That's the interesting thing. It's not like Danny B retro chiptune stuff, which is awesome stuff, but it's like, it's very, you actually rarely hear exactly this type of music in the game.
Yeah.
In games. Anyway, he's got 6 new tracks for me to work with, so I'm probably going to make maybe 6 levels for this little standalone. Yeah. And they're going to be longer, and then maybe I have an idea for a 3-level side thing. So it'll only be maybe a third of the length of the game, maybe half of the length of the game, but should be fun. And I should be able to publish a new soundtrack, a part 3 to the soundtrack, because there's like 45 tracks. There'll be a total of 45 tracks. There's currently, the soundtrack is 35 tracks. That's an hour and a half of music. It's a lot of music for a game.
Yeah, I mean, when dubstep was like the big hype, I felt like a douchebag listening to it, but I could listen to this music, blast it out loud in front of people, and not feel like a douche at all. It is that good. Yeah,
his stuff, like, it doesn't have quite so many girls moaning and like really bad one-line
That was
things.
more, was that you putting it in?
Well, sometimes. I don't know, he's just really, really high quality in his music. Like, it's really good music.
Yeah.
It's an honor to work with him. All right, thank you very much for interviewing me. It's interesting. I'm always up for talking ESJ. Thanks for playing. I'm glad you're enjoying the game.
Yeah, and remember, guys, check it out, and also like and subscribe to us, and that'd be great. And we'll see you next time. Bye.